Hi, I think we're streaming. I have no idea if we're streaming or not. God, everything is bloody, bloody, bloody. I'm going to assume you're streaming. Welcome. It's Saturday morning, and this is The Art of Rock. And The Art of Rock is a podcast designed to help you make your music or art or whatever else happen because it's really difficult, and not many people talk about failing. This is about failing and keeping going. Um, and it's always good. I'm trying some new technology today, so if I swear more than usual, that's why. And I would like to apologize to everyone because I'm such a crazy psycho. Every Saturday, oh, first and foremost, I acknowledge the Tonga people as being the traditional landowners of Hollywood, California, and it's raining. Frank is so intrigued right now. It's like, wow, this rain is like fantastic. Every Saturday we're doing it. Rob, it's good to see your face in the chat. Rezzy's not joining us today. I know. What's with that? This is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. There. I really hope you like it and stuff. I have to get an updated thing for that because that's the old link. Angelspit's new album is called Red End. If you're a member of the Patreon, you got a free copy, right? If not, it's there. Go get it. And it's streaming everywhere. It's talking about streaming. The Industrial Incisions playlist is, as they say in movie land, Trey Bomb. What? Hey, you look like spam to me. I'm gonna fuck you off. Um, remember to check out Vulture Culture. Hey, I'm wearing the shirt. Vulture Culture on Wednesday night does a deep dive into magical synthesizers. You need to be a part of it, a part of it, a part of the magic stream on Vulture Culture. Um, there you go. Get some and get that t-shirt because it's amazing. Angelspit's Discord is there. I don't know anything about Discord. I don't understand Discord. I just don't get it because I'm fucking not from this planet. Um, After this, we're writing to MTV TV. Go to MTV TV and get you some. If you got a track, send it to them. If you're looking for new music, send it to them. If you're just playing something in the background, send it to them. It's a whole bunch of music that you've never heard, and it's awesome. Or you might have heard, get on it. That coffee is working now. If you are unhappy with the way the United States is going, get on indivisible.org, and they're going to do some amazing things for you and help you direct your concern about democracy into something positive. There's a 12-step recovery thing for media adonics. Discal. Oh, yeah, there you go. Thanks, Rob. If you feel like you have a problem, and this is a serious problem we got to talk about, go there. We're going to get to the outer rock. Trust me, we're just doing the preamble. Rezzy, the most amazing co-host, is not with us today because if he was, he'd be showing me how to put a compressor on this freaking microphone because I don't know how to. Go check out Rezzy's stuff. It's bloody awesome. And today we are hopefully joined by these amazingnesses. If they can, hey, I don't even know who that math. Who is that? I don't know. Come on in. And also there's always a GoFundMe for Drake's family. Can anyone help Carl with these chat posts that stay on the stream once it's done? What? Okay, thanks, Rob. Do we have, are there, yeah, I got it, Rob, I think. Okay, welcome, Art of Rock. Yeah, let's do this because doing this is what we do. Okay, apparently going live there. There's so many buttons to push. And pushing buttons is luckily what I do. So we're going to talk about G.A.S. That's gear acquisition syndrome. I want to know right now, what are you lusting after? Go.
All
And this
right,
is going to tie into music. I'm sorry, Ivan, the floor is yours.
all right, let me just open this up with Damn You Roland.
What have they done?
Oh, that their new drum machine, like
Ah,
that is lustable. I still lust after, one of their larger, more modern keyboards. Um,
which one?
uh, I cannot remember off the top of my head. I do not have my gas list in front of me. Uh, Sadly, it is mostly filled with Eurorack
Okay,
parts.
I'm sorry. You have a gas list. Okay.
It, Sometimes you shine a light on it and then it's gaslight.
Dad jokes is how I roll.
But
Thanks,
you
Ivan. Keep going,
know,
please.
the bulk of my you know intended gas right now is it's Euro rack parts as far as the eye can see. A lot of just a lot of various different kinds of things. And then there's a new 19-inch compressor, or new-ish 19-inch, new to me 19-inch compressor, like physical like compressor that like I saw a demo for it that like just showed off how magical that thing is. And I need to look up which one that is, but it is also like just stunning. Let me I am logging into Sweetwater now as we speak because that
Big
and
shout out to Carson, by the way. I was on Sweetwater actually, and it's always nice when they send you stuff. They send you a bag of lollies, candies.
yeah, they do that.
We suck. We suck. Go on, Ivan. Keep going.
Went to the wrong Sweetwater first. There we go. Uh, yeah, and those bastards have their Black Friday sale going on. Let's take a look at my wish list. Oh yeah, the Elisa Max master bus compressor. Totally, I want one of those. Um, I've been, on and off again. I'm looking at audio interfaces and thinking to myself, I need something that's a bit more mixer like. And, I wouldn't complain if a Jupiter X showed up, randomly out of the blue here at the house.
Okay, not many people would. Is there anything else that you want to like gas on over? Because the question's going to be is why. But we're going to get to that. We're going to get gassy first, then we're going to talk about making music
Okay, I do
from
not
gas.
save any of my Eurorack wants in a place because otherwise it would become dangerous. And let's keep this in mind. I mean, I haven't bought hardware in like 2 or 3 years now because like I ran out of places to put it. But the third floor is, making progress. So, as soon as that studio opens, the floodgates do as well.
Okay, thank you. Thanks in the chats. There's just a whole bunch of dirty talk going on. So if you don't know, GAS stands for Gear Acquisition Syndrome, and it's when musicians want more gear. And it's just this strange drive. So adapt, welcome. TO5, third wave K2000, Alpha Juno, and the D50. So the K2000 does D50 really good. The Alpha Juno is amazing, but there's a lot of menu diving, and I'm going to say the K2000 does analog as good as, in fact, better than, and it is digital, yes, but the K2000 does digital analog better than anything in the 80s, any analog in the 80s. I'm going to go out there and say that. The third wave, nothing really does what the third wave does. The TO5, just because I've got such a soft spot for sequential circuits, sure. Um,
Oh yeah.
so I reckon if you can, the first ship you want to get is the K2000, and um, really think about the K2000 and really get into it because it's such. Oh God, we're ranting about the K2000 again. It's such an absolute behemoth, and they're $250, $300. And it is a world-changing synthesizer for that much money. Yes, it's or you could get a 2500, which I'm seeing for 500-600 bucks. And the keyboards of a 2500, like the 76, are beautiful. I think they did an 88 as well, but they're heavy as fuck. Um, but I would be suggesting getting a K2000 first, and then because the price on those things is only going to go up. But the thing about a K2000 is you never actually sell them. It's funny because I jumped on the K2000 Facebook page the other day, K2000 right here. And users are saying, oh, they've gone through like 3 or 4 of them because sometimes you need 2, sometimes they just fall in your lap. It's kind of like the CAT distribution system. It's the K2000 distribution system. So the K2000 is a digital synthesizer released around about 1988. Vulture Culture did an absolutely amazing, I'd like to say deep dive, but you cannot do a deep dive into a K2000 in 2 hours. It's such it's got a thing called variable synth architecture synth technology, which basically means you stick all these modules together and you come up with the most whack shit ever, or the fattest shit ever. And it's great because you can put like distortion units in line before filters, or it's just madness. It's madness. Um, and what you can do on that synth is just crazy. But yeah, so Erica's synth Perkins and the hex drums. Definitely go with the hex drums. Because I got a bunch of the hex inverter drum modules and they're so fucking good. But you can't control the hex drums to the degree that you can control the modular stuff, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, but they're still really fucking good. I'm taking over now. Does anybody else want to jump in at this stage and save me as
Um,
but this is going to get to, hold on, Armith, give me a minute. It will get to, how does this work with music? Armith, the floor is yours, go.
well, for me, a little bit older, I'm gassing over a Space Echo Dream pedal, and they're a little bit older. They run about 230. They're really versatile. You could put it on your synth, you could put it on your guitar, and it adds a lot to your noise and takes a lot out of your chain. But also, I'm gassing over. I need more fancy hats, man. More fancy hats. That's mostly what I'm gassing over. But how you guys been?
Amazing. Can I just jump in and ask you about, isn't it interesting how, and this could, how fashion does change the way you make music? That if you're having trouble write something, put on a good jacket or put on a hat
Yeah.
or
Oh yeah.
something. Yeah. What did you just put in the things, Rob? Um, okay, I want to get back to gas and synthesizers specifically. There's so much, everybody is gassing so hardcore. Tell me more about this pedal.
Well, so this pedal, it's a Space Echo Dream. It adds a reverb, but also let me pull it up again to tell you all the features.
Or throw a link into the description.
There's quite a few, and it just makes really great whooshy noises. But for me, it frees up a lot of other pedals that I use, and that's just really convenient. So it's got a delay, it's got an echo, and it's got a modulator on it, and it's extremely nice. Let's see, let's pull it up in the chat. And it's just a versatile pedal.
Death by Audio. Is it Walmart?
Oh, no, that's just where I found a quick place to buy it.
Okay.
But it's got quite a few things. It's got a delay. It's got a way to blend the modulator, the feedback all together in one, and it just replaces a lot of things.
That's very interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So the question I want to go back to at the core, and please everybody in the chats jump in, is how is this actually going to help your composition and production? How? Really truly, how? Brett, hit me.
If I can go back in time a little bit, you know, on the gas scale and answer your question, how it helps, I can do that. So recently I talked about after watching Vulture Culture, picking up Omnisphere. The reason I did that is in FL Studio there is a sample library that I can pull bits and pieces from. And I realized in listening to what Vulture Culture was doing that many of those sounds were coming from that synth. And so for me, it now sits there and allows me to take a similar sound of something that I can pull down, but I can also change its parts so that I can customize it further for my mix. So let's say I pull down, you know, somebody's sing-songy, right? And there's a note in there I don't like. Well, yes, I can go audio surgeon on it and cut it out, but I can also now go to Omnisphere and find that sound and simply program what I want. And that's huge for me. It also gives me a lot more control over what I want if I'm looking at reverse tones. So if I'm doing something and I'm like, well, this sounds really good, you know, or these are the right tones, but it's not creepy enough. What I can do is I can invert their scale, record it that way, and then reverse it. And so that way it's kind of the reverse reverb effect of sorts, only maybe or maybe not reverb. But that's one of the things that I was recently done.
Good.
For sure, man, for sure. Did anybody else want to jump in there?
Oh, yeah, one more thing that I'm gassing over that probably isn't too popular amongst this community here, but I really would love a cheap drum machine like a TD8 or something like that. I've been looking at those just because it'll add to some of my more experimental things. And it's you know, from the company that should not be named, but I think it's a great reproduction of an older drum machine, you know, for a decent price. For me, that in the Space Echo with some samples, and you could come up with some pretty cool tracks. I have my own Space Echo devised out of a few different pedals, and it's just a lot of work setting that up. So for me, G.A.S is just ease of access. It makes projects easier. You don't have to tear apart a 300 you know, square foot apartment to find all your pieces to put together, you know, to make a track. You know, it's all just right there. So it makes things simple.
For sure. Also check out the Korg stuff because there's some
Yeah.
great stuff. And
Yeah.
also the Akai, is it the Wolf? Fucking I have one. Yeah, the Rhythm Wolf. Everybody hates on that thing, but I don't think it's that bad.
Drum machine?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
let me
quite
check
good.
that out.
And it's really cheap too.
Hey,
My thoughts on G.A.S. Sorry, did I cut you off?
not at all, not at all.
So it's really interesting that firstly, for me, and you know, G.A.S is something that you know everybody's got to figure out. So that's gear acquisition syndrome. It's great because I know that my mind is working in that thirst again. The trick that I have found is to gas over gear that you already own and to research like I was looking at the dope for 155 and 154 sequencer setup thing, which I absolutely love. And I was like reading over it and looking at reviews, and I was like, what, it does that? I didn't even know it does that. And you know, obviously you say, I want this thing, or the question is there any way that you can build that thing on what you already have or research what you already have? Because you're probably not, well, in my case, it's so funny with synths, man. I just scrape the surface of them. Like I learn how to use them basically, and then I go, oh, that's all I need. So I sort of try not to get synths that have got a lot of menu diving and blah, 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 blah. Like the sequencer on the Moog One, here's Alex. The sequencer on the Moog One, I've used it once. And it's amazing. I don't think I've used the arpeggiator yet. But anyway, that's just me. Yeah, also the drum brute. Fucking drum brute's rocking. Brett, talk to me. Alex, welcome.
I agree with you. And part of what I've done in response to that is do things like upgrade my synths. So like the K2000, for example. My first K2000, which well, they're all old, but I had it for a number of years. It developed a power issue, and then it ended up having something, a BIOS chip or something, just go north, and it's dead. So recently, I bought another K2000, and I sat there and I played with it just as it for probably a month or so, and sat there. I was like, you know what? I wonder what those pieces are in that other Kurzweil. And so I took it apart, started researching on the board, found that it was a whole bunch of RAM. I'm like, all right. One of the other things I did with my original Kurzweil is I updated its screen, and I also updated the floppy drive to USB. And I sat there and I was like, you know what? Let me go back and reapply all those updates. And I'm really glad I did. I mean, it still retains its original functionality. You've literally just changed, like on the floppy drive, for example, you've literally just changed devices. It's still storing 1.4 meg. So if someone hands me a floppy disk, I can easily just import a floppy disk. I do have to convert it, but same amount of data. With the Yamaha, man, I sat there and I started looking, and I was like, yeah, in searching for patches one day, I stumbled upon an entire chipset upgrade called the Supermax version 3. And it adds arpeggiation and some ability to play two voices at once. Polyphony, I guess. I think that's right. Polyphony. Anyway, adding those together actually really helped. And so I updated its screen as well. And it's that whole process of looking at what you have, bringing some newness back to it. And while you're doing so, just by the fact that you're using the machine and finding new ways to use the machine, you learn more about it.
Okay, thank you. And it's such a really, I'll jump in a bit. I want to fling back to that. Great points. Alex, welcome, baby. Talk to me.
The topic was what your gear desires were. Am I right?
Yeah, we're talking about G.A.S, and we're going to talk about how to utilize G.A.S and actually use it for synthesis. But first, baby, tell me about your G.A.S.
So I have this list on my computer, which is like, here it is. And it used to be much bigger. I actually recently put some things of it that I put on maybe 10 years ago. Sometimes because I don't want it anymore, sometimes because I managed to get it secondhand.
Read the list.
So right now it's just Focusrite Compounder. I don't know if you can look the past versions of it, but right now it just says Focusrite Compounder. But from my head, it's the thing I probably want most is some vocal mic, then something to remote in-ears, like a wireless in-ear setup, then either Waldorf Iridium or how's it the big one called? Not Proton, Quantum. But that's obviously quite more expensive. Yeah, and then it's like stuff that I don't really need but would be nice, like Electron's new polyphonic sampler, which I think has much more voices, so maybe we could contain more of the music inside one box. Yeah, and I think maybe one good drum machine that's like just one solid thing and not one thing that I just want to sample. And that's not sample based. Yeah, and in terms of drum machines secondhand, because I think Lethe asked the question. I think I would go and search for Arturia Drum Boot Impact. I think they're like quite good for the money. They're not quite a clone, but I think they sound really nice. And I think people buy them in such huge amounts that they can be quite affordable.
And the secondhand market for them is really good as well. And their MIDI CV, all of the interface on those things are great. Arturia is amazing. I think they're made in Canada or something. But like I don't know, they're bloody great. Get a Rode. Alex, get a Rode. If you want a good mic, get a Rode. They're really well priced. They're really well made. I've had mine for over 10 years and I've screamed into it so often. And they're great on guitars, on drums, on bloody everything. Get a Rode NT2. They probably don't even make them anymore. And then something else. Drum machine, sure, yeah. Bam. I had something really mind. Oh yeah. So thank you. How does this help? You didn't go through any bloody any Eurorack.
Oh yeah, I think right now there would be some I would be interested in, but I just need time to figure out what I really need because I now got this the Electron analog keys, which has like it has like a CV sequencer that can emulate envelopes and LFOs. So I would need time to connect it to my setup and see, okay, I can do this, I can do this. What would I do next? And until I have done that, I think it's not the brightest idea to just buy things. Yeah, basically that.
I hear you. And um, remind me Wednesday nights. But I just want to circle back to what Brett was saying about if you put a new screen in a synth, it could cost 50, $100. You might be able to do it yourself. You might have to get someone to do it. It makes it feel like it's a new synthesizer. Even cleaning it, like getting in there with rubbing alcohol and a toothbrush and cleaning the front of the synth. Increasing RAM, or putting in a new drive, stuff like that. You know, yours need to also be making notes about who owns what. And you know, for example, like I know Rob's got everything and also an Emacs too. Like if anybody ever wanted to get into Emacs, you know, Rob and I could definitely help you out with that one. If you want to get into K2000, Rob, Brett, myself have K2000s. And yeah, it's just great to watch people use these things. And also when other people use their K2000 Emacs, they're going to be doing things you're not thinking about. And which brings me around to my Wednesday nights. Like I know Vulture Culture streams on Wednesday nights, but I'm having these meetups in my apartment where we mess around with the modular synth because I've made the understanding that if I don't play with that synth, I'm never going to use it. Like I use it like once every 2 months, which is ridiculous. And it's helping me. It's really inspiring me. So I'll have friends over. We muck around with the modular, then we go to a club. Which unfortunately means we miss out on the live stream, but I always watch it later. Vulture Culture's live stream. By the way. I'm just very, 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 very quickly going to put that in the description. Hold on, I'm still going. Wow, why isn't this working now? God, I fucking hate this chat. It's terrible. Yeah. So we're doing that. We might even stream some stuff, like we've been streaming the odd mucking around sessions. But they're good fun. And the really great thing about when you get somebody else who knows nothing about modular synthesizers, or synthesizers or whatever onto your synth that you know really well or relatively well, they start doing all this stuff with it that you'd never think about doing. And that is, I think that's one of the most really important things, because suddenly it becomes like this new machine, which, oh, I didn't know it could do that. Or I never thought about doing that. Like when I hear people do horrible things to the hex inverter clap, it's a 909 clap modular module, and it's so good, and it can make a really nice clean 909 clap, or it could make a terrifying or it can make like a big 80s snare, or it can make total randomness. You can make it make it have a little craftwork thing if you want. It's so good. But they do this stuff that I never think about. Armith, what do you think?
I've got a weird gear acquisition syndrome over gear that I already have. So now I found out that I can use some gear in ways that, maybe no input, like guitar pedals. I found out, hey, I can no input this and make really crazy noises, which I posted some samples on the channel and things like that. And that's, just finding out new things to do with the things that I already have has almost eliminated, hey, I want to buy new stuff, to, hey, let's explore what I have, because that's you can do a lot of things with what you already got, whether it's for metal or for electronic music or whatever you're doing. You can always use a piece of gear in a way that maybe it wasn't intended for, or however you'd like to use it, and that's where I'll lower my hand.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, to that same regard, I've even taken a pair of drumsticks and just pounded on every single thing in the house. Turn everything into everything can become a musical instrument if you're brave enough to break it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, my own acquisition at this point has honestly kind of started to trend towards more like VSTs again, and that's really due to space. It's become more of an issue of give me the controllers that allow me to turn buttons in a virtual environment, just due to sheer amount of space.
Yeah, chasing the perfect VST controller is definitely a thing. But we're cleaning out our storage room, and part of cleaning it out involved moving this like massive like 50s wardrobe made out of sheet metal out onto the front porch to get it like hauled away. And it made the most beautifully disgusting sounds while it was rolling across the house. And sometimes gear acquisition syndrome is just sound acquisition syndrome. And I keep this thing ready to go almost all the time just so I can hit record when it needs to happen. And so happily, I have that stuff.
On behalf of everyone, please share those sounds. Thank you, darling. Thank you. That's inspiring. Oh, here we go. I need more sound safaris. Alex.
I would have another topic.
Yeah, sure.
So recently I saw this video on Sonic States about I think some Roland, not project, but project, where they have like a DIY setup for something where you could use a neural network like a vocoder. Like you take a carrier signal and you may say to the neural network, okay, make it a vocal sound. And the results were like really interesting. And my problem with most AI stuff is that it drains you because it's like just uninspired and lazy, but that was the first time I thought, oh, finally something that's like for musicians and a really creative outlet, because it was like a way to make it not it was like the opposite of the usual. It made things deliciously weird. I would have to look up the link, but I just wanted to share that because I thought, oh my God, finally something that's actually cool.
Okay, I like this. Thank you. Throw the link in there because we should talk about weird. And I mean weird, like what? Oh, borderline disgusting weird. I've been doing a lot of research into disgust. And it's a really interesting reaction in the human emotion thing, but that might be for another time. That I think that the problem with the world is disgust. There's too much disgust. But that could be a rant. Um
That is totally a rant.
Well, okay, pull me back to the Bode filter. I'm gonna go. Hold on, this is Alex's thing. Maybe we should finish. Let's finish this, and then I'm gonna go on my disgust rant. That's what Alex just sent. This new Roland thing. Um, this is interesting. Because so I'm really getting into a Bode filter. And they're so expensive. Like they're really fucking expensive because it's a really tricky piece of gear and it's all calibrated and blah blah blah. And Dope for Do a Bode that's amazing because it's got a breakout box. It's got all these different ring modulators and fucking madness. And I think what a Bode, it's basically a really advanced form of ring modulating, I think. Um, and they're tricky because if they get uncalibrated, it's problematic. But the Bode sound it's this massive, big, beautiful. It's kind of like a phaser on drugs mixed with a ring modulator. And this has got a point. When I was watching some videos on Bode modules, because there's a whole bunch of different brands, and the doper version, if you get the whole package, it's like $500. It's like the module, then the breakout box is 450 and 50. So it's kind of like 500. And that's a lot of money. And you can probably get a really cheap version for fucking on software. Meh. So, yeah, what's crazy is that the Bode is I was watching the patching, people talking about patching these things, and they made Moog also used to make one. Yeah, well, they came from Moog. They're originally in the Moog modular is that classic Bode, and it's that very big kind of like squelchy Jean-Michel Jarre sound. But then there's all of this madness that you can do with the Bode as well. But when you look at these people talking about patches, and it's really funny that the old school modular patching ecthos is different to the modern modular ecthos, where the modern one is not as crazy, convoluted, weird, and experimental. Like the old school version is really experimental. And they come up with these mad fucking sounds like I could never use that. And it's a weird, strange sound, but isn't it interesting that it can actually do that? They're more like thought experiments. I don't know, but yeah, so go that Bode. There's also one in Ableton Live. Good to know. Um, oh, hold on. I'll paste this. And Diana, if you're there, if you can get that little piece of spammy spam. Alex, talk to me.
I forgot that my hand was up, but I can say I think Moog licensed it from Harald Bode, which was like a German American inventor. And yeah,
I think you are correct.
yeah, I
And
think
it's also
made
go ahead.
once previously to Moog, but I think Moog's one is the most famous implementation.
Yeah, does anybody want to jump in on weird stuff here? Weird stuff. Go. Someone jump in.
I got some weird stuff. I made some pretty creepy noises with a phaser, a flanger, and a vibrato, no input, and then sampled over it, just an open room jam, and it turned out sounded pretty good. I enjoyed that. I'll post it in the Angelspit. I think you guys have already heard it, but it makes some pretty spooky noises. I'll have to set it up and demo it in y'all's jam room sometime. You can actually post a sample here.
Please do.
Let's see if oh, it drags right over.
Oh, having a if you can do it in
A
if
DAW.
there's an online thing so we can share it with everyone in the chats, that would be like, boo, yeah, awesome. If that's possible. Hi, I'm back as weirdness overwhelms. Okay, great. Does anybody else want to talk about weird stuff, or is it time for a car rant?
Time for a car rant.
Okay. I've been doing some research on Disgust because I'm aware that within myself there's the feeling of disgust. I feel disgusted at people, at situations, at things. So, and also, as you know, I'm a big Pixar fan, and Inside Out talks about disgust. So, I was looking at what disgust is, and why and it's not just simple as saying, oh, that's fear. It's not, it's something else. And, you know, as you probably know, disgust is, it's there to protect you against, bad people, bad food, bad amounts of bacteria, boiled steak, and broccoli. Although or boiled broccoli. So the way that you it is suggested, or thoughts of coming to terms with disgust, is actually face those things, because it's interesting that this is a theory, is that disgust is similar to creepy, where it sees something and it goes, this could be a threat, so I'm going to put it into this special area, which is creepy. In a horror movie or in a situation, if something's creepy, I don't know if it's a threat. So I'm going to treat it with a large amount of concern. You know, we have a teddy bear with teeth, for example, whatever the fuck that thing is. Creepy. Disgust is kind of similar, where it's possibly a threat, but everything around me is indicating it's a threat. So I'm going to tread really carefully. And there's probably 10,000 views that say that that's not actually correct. So I've noticed within myself there's a lot of disgust towards a lot of things, and a lot of different we're not going to talk about cancel culture, that a lot of things that cancel culture, I think, has a lot to do with people being disgusted. And you can look at what disgust is, and you can say, okay, well, what's going on here is people are perceiving a threat, so they are pushing that threat away. The way you come to terms with these threats is by examining them and seeing if they actually are safe or not. It was interesting in my research that there is a suggestion that after COVID, because COVID was an absolute time of everything you walk into, there could be a dangerous biological infection, airborne. That's disgust, hence masks, hence everything else. So your level of disgust is up. That level of disgust, that heightened feeling of disgust within yourself, for the sake of your preservation, for the sake of your health, that's what disgust does. I don't think it's never really come down. Other things have gone in to keep it at that level and to keep it up. So I am really it's something within myself that I'm looking at my own disgust, and I'm questioning it, and I'm asking myself how I can bring that down, how I can calm it, because you know, you can talk to somebody and everybody's got an area that they're disgusted by. like every single person has got a topic that they think is disgusting. And the great thing about that is that when you talk about that topic, when you're aware of what that topic is in you, I don't want to know what your topic is because that's not the point of this conversation. When you realize that you have disgust, you can then, with empathy, go and talk to somebody else who also has disgust. For example, their disgust might be towards a race, a class system, a gender. It might be towards people who are gay, lesbian, queer, or trans. And you can have a conversation with them with the understanding that, well, I feel disgust towards things too. So I kind of, to the beginnings of understanding, to have a conversation, to allow that person to feel empathy towards and openness towards their thing that they feel disgusted about. Yes, politics, but we're not going to talk about politics. We're talking about disgust, specifically your disgust. Now, bringing it into the point of my area of concern is that I have noticed disgust is coming up a lot in my songwriting, that I don't want to talk about that thing because I'm disgusted about it, or I fear that the backlash to it will be disgust. And as a musician, it is my job, as a composer, as an artist, it's my job to push through that and to create music and art that does constantly drag the human experience forward. That's the end of my rant. Alex, what do you think?
I'm sorry if I don't follow up on every point you said, but for me, I realized that it's important to understand that just because you feel something, that doesn't mean you have to. First of all, that you're a bad person, and the second thing is that you have to act out on it, and you have to you can examine your own feelings, and specifically on disgust, it's a weird thing because I hardly get disgusted at anything. So maybe that's not a thing that's very relatable to me personally. But yeah, I think yeah. It's sorry, it doesn't follow well. Maybe the next person can.
No, that's all right. Thank you. And like I said, this is a Carl rant, and this is something that I am dealing with because the core of the issue is to look at myself, to look and not talk about other people or what I'm disgusted in. It's to look at myself and the level of disgust and trying to really question that and how I can minimize it, because that engine in that subroutine in my neurological processing is stopping me from problem solving. It's stopping me from writing music. It's stopping me from exploring concepts that, for example, sorry, I see hands. And for example, Nick Cage did a movie in the 90s called 8mm, and it's quite terrifying, and it's about snuff films, and it's really terrifying. And it's funny that when I first saw it, I thought it was really beautiful, but now I think it's disgusting. And I've asked myself, why have I changed? And is that having an impact on my art? That's what this is all about. The art of rock, the art of making music. Has my closed mindedness or my heightened defense mechanisms, it's now moving into my ability to make art. And when that happens, it's like, well, I've got a process and I've got things and this is safe. So I'm going to stay on that. And that's what this is about. So thank you, Ivan. What do you think?
I have a bunch of thoughts. First, the pandemic brought out, especially lockdowns, brought out all of our inner Howard Hugheses. We around here, we damn near reached a point where we were just walking around the house in Kleenex boxes for shoes, and washing our hands more times per day than was actually probably healthy. And near as I can tell, this is a problem that actually everybody had. It brought out our inner Howard Hughes. ever so slowly, the damage is slowly being undone, but it is being undone so slowly that one, you can't necessarily see it every day, and two, it just seems like it's never going to go away. But at the same time, I was at a, a grocery store the other day, and their salad bar was open again. You know, there are a couple of Chinese places around here that have their, all you can eat buffet bar as well open again. And for the longest time, those had gone away because people were thoroughly grossed out by the idea of the potentiality that, the food they were eating was going to be
Breathed on.
infected.
So I'm going to bring this back to you. Is this changing the way you write music? Do you feel that in any way this is impacting on your compositional musical process? Because that's really what we're talking about
I
here.
think the isolation of pandemic really changed the way I was writing music. In that, like, I suddenly found myself with a lot more time to approach things with, and I had the room to be actually quite experimental. Um, I'm a type 1 diabetic, so like a lot of the things that other people find disgusting by default, particularly surrounding, seeing someone else's blood or being poked with needles, they can't bother me because that would put my life at risk. Um, and so like I go with a my threshold is different as a result. And so like a lot of that Howard Hughesness that took place during pandemic, I could isolate it to pandemic for myself. Whereas like my wife still likes to wear masks when she goes out. Um, and I'm the one with the messed up immune system. Uh, so like yeah, it most certainly affected what I was making because like I got pretty prolific during pandemic just because I had so much time on my hands and like the idea of getting sick was pretty disgusting, I will admit. But like being trapped and lonely in the house was even more so. And I did write a whole song that I never recorded called Wo Han. And one of these days I'll actually record it and print it so that I can get it out there. As it was about, holy shit, we've been tricked into believing this. There's this black swan and event taking place, which, as we can see in hindsight, did not. And it was all about, the feelings of like dread and disgust and loneliness and isolation that were wrapped up in that.
It's interesting. And thank you that another thing that's coming out also in the chats is conversation about isolationism. Because that's something that we have not got over and we are still dealing with. That could
Yes.
be another rant. Did you want
And
to add anything, please? The floor's
But
yours.
no, that would be a worthy rant right there. And I have a feeling that a lot of the continuing isolation that has continued to exist since pandemic, quote unquote, ended, despite the fact that I would make the point that it hasn't, um, is actually kind of disgust based as well. Like people are still terrified of the potential health ramifications of contracting the disease, which they should be bothered by that. But it's reached a point where we're overdoing it so much that we're unwilling to take any kind of risk. And there's a lot of like I'm saying for ages that all of the great rewards are right on the other side of your like threshold for comfort. So you get past your comfort threshold, and that's where the rewards are. The rewards will not appear on your side of the comfort threshold. And also, like I would also going to point out that over in the chaos magic world, doing rituals about overcoming, disgust is actually a fairly big deal.
Tell me more. By the way, I love broccoli. Don't think for a minute I don't love broccoli. Broccoli is one of my favorite things. Ivan, and I'm seeing everyone else's hands. I really want to get to you. We are talking about making music. We are not talking about, but Ivan, go.
Yeah, no, over in that world, like there's a lot of rituals involving, various human effluence. Um, yes.
Anyway, but like I
You
said, I
didn't
want
even
to,
have to unmute.
yeah, thanks. I want to keep it on, I want to keep it on par because that's the Philosopher's Stone concept, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
well, and
basically the
you're
stone
just
made
going to
of
point out
urine.
also that, like, you know, uh, uh, the members of Coil were big chaos magicians. Like,
Anyway, I need to
taking
pull it
part in this
back.
stuff.
Got to pull it back. Just before I move on, thank you, Ivan. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's interesting that as everybody's talking, I feel that people really still, there's a lot of conversations that need to be happening about COVID because we didn't finish that. Phoenix, see your question. We will talk about that today. We'll get to it. Right now, we're talking about disgust, isolationism, and how it affects your music. Or I think this might just turn into getting shit off your chest. Brett, what's going on?
So, my thoughts on this are, if it affects the human, it affects the art. Short and sweet. We can go into, I mean, obviously we can go into the ways it affects us all individually, and each of us are different, so that is necessarily going to be different. But short and sweet, there's no way to escape it. You are the artist. If you are being affected, and you are necessarily affected by the world around you, as part of what makes your art great. It's you expressing that in some other way. So I think, a simplistic answer is yes, but there is also a huge chasm of paths in which we could delve into that further, per any one of us.
Thank you. Very true. Very, very true. And Rob actually said, one lesson I learned during COVID here is, Frank, is don't let fear rule you. I've also found but my thing is now is don't let disgust rule you, because fear and disgust are different. If you've watched Inside Out, they're different. And if you haven't watched Inside Out, watch Inside Out because it's very good and it'll make you cry. Thank you, Brett. Thank you very much. Ameth, what are you thinking?
Well, what I'm thinking here is, people are a professional on their own situations. So if something does discuss somebody, it's really important not to demonize that, not to alienate that as a person. But you yourself also may have inner disgusts and things like that, and that can create sickness in your compositions. It can come out in different kinds of ways that people may not notice, and it can affect your behaviors and compositions in many types of ways, whether it's you accidentally wrote a whole bunch of disgusting music that demonized a bunch of people, that you personally think sounds great, or the opposite, you get a negative crowd influence because they've created all these popular unified and demonized ideas. That happens, and that happened a lot with COVID. I don't get a lot of human contact, and I think one thing that's really important to me is when I meet new people, because I've become agoraphobic, is to not demonize them or their situations or anything. And I've made more friends that way than I have trying to find the people that don't disgust me, that don't put fear into me. And the way that that affects my music is in different ways. I mean, if you get disgusting support from somebody, you're gonna write disgusting music. If you get great support from somebody, you're gonna write great music. It's reflective, and I'm not trying to hide anything there. It's just really important to know that the people that you're talking to are experts on their own situation, and not to demonize that, but also not to cater to that either.
That's really interesting that you really made me, it was a reminder that music is emotion. It is an emotional vehicle. And, it's the language of emotion. So whatever emotion you are feeling, that like disgust is an emotion, I think, um, that's going to come through. But also an area of concern for myself, and maybe I don't mean to be projecting, but you need to be aware of this, is that I'm trying to figure out how I can put this without it. Oh, look, you guys know I'm a prick, so who cares? I think it's important that even with isolationism, fuck you, Brett. Even with isolationism, you've got to be careful that it doesn't change the way you write music. Because my point here is that safe is here. Safe is hygienic. Safe is in a world without fear. This is safe. No risk. No fear. No disgust. Safe. But as an artist, I cannot exist here. My lyrics, my choice of chords, my choice of drums, which is why I get people over on Wednesday night to fuck with my gears, because I know how to use this shit. Show me how to not use this shit. Show me how to not use this shit. Maybe that's like, and Armith, when you were talking about that distortion pedal that you're looking at, it's like, yeah, how the emotion of disgust affects your art, Brett. That's exactly it. And it could be good. It could be good, and it could be bad. But I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's interesting that in this conversation, I came into it thinking disgust in my songwriting is not a good thing and I have to avoid it. But after reading everything you guys are saying, it's really interesting. It's like I should be open to looking at, perceiving it, working with it, and working through it. Because that's the great thing about music, is if you have issues with isolationism, fear, phobia, disgust, whatever, music is a fantastic way to figure it out. Because one of the few areas of free speech really, truly, really, truly is in your music. You can't say a lot of this shit online. You can't really da-da-da-da-da, but you can say it and work through it on this higher plane using music. What does a disgusting sound like? I know exactly what a disgusting sounds like, because that's the genre we're in. I guess we are the musical equivalent of boiled steak. Although I know, but the trick with boiled steak is you got to boil it hot for a short amount of time. Then you put it in marinate, let it cool to room temperature. Then you fucking put that shit on a full heat barbecue. Oh yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah, that's how you do it. Phoenix, talk to me.
So what I've realized is with the whole isolationism because of COVID and everything, it's pushed me to do more introspective music, but my music has been introspective from the start. So it's actually made me delve deeper into my own mind because I'm severe extrovert, The pandemic really messed me up emotionally because I couldn't spend time with people I cared about. And that's why most of my stuff is like, best way to describe it, with isolation, you kind of become in a bubble because that's what's safe for most people, and our thoughts start becoming louder than everything that's going on around us. And our music is the way to, process that. And like, I was kind of disgusted by what happened with the pandemic, not being able to go and see people, but I have more than just me to worry about. You know, I have other people that I live with and my partner and whatnot, so I have to make sure, you know, he's doing okay too and safe. But I've realized that like most of my styles and stuff like is blended together, you know. And that's what the isolationism did, because it made me experiment with multiple different styles and genres, because I'm like, you know, I have this time right now. So I might as well do what I can with my time, you know, being an extrovert and whatnot. It also gave me a lot of deep focus and detail with my music. So I could try, as I said, try things I didn't try beforehand, you know. And I was able to explore stuff I never even thought possible, like combining, um, let's see, combining trance, techno, cinematic with like even my most recent song kind of has like a spy theme going to it, but my new album is like a mixture between angels and demons and spirits and raising people to a new elevation or seeing how deep you can go down to the primal feelings, you know. But the downside is it can basically make it so that we're just doing the same ideas over and over and over and over for some artists, you know, and we miss growth from the whole community because we're like cut off from all these people we've been spending time with in person, and it makes us feel like, you know, it just feels stagnant, you know what I mean? But the upside is we can be kind of honest about the music.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just also dealing with Frank. He's going into crazy mode. Ivan hit me in my brain.
And you know, in the end, music is therapy. Music is therapy. Writing music is therapy. And you know, writing music gives us an opportunity to work through our own, you know, battle our own inner demons. So I lost track of where I was going with that. I will stop for a moment.
Okay, well, let me know when it comes back. But thank you. Ethan, Amos.
I think being isolated has affected our needs, which has changed our perspectives on many emotions. Like for me as a young man, the isolation impacted me right in the middle of you know, trying to meet somebody to be with forever, you know. And now look at how that dynamic's changed 5 years later. Now I'm 31 and kind of washed up and like, well, what do I do now? It has affected my song making, and you know, you'll notice a little more aggressive tunes. You'll notice a little, you know, a few other things, and it goes back to what Brett says. You know, the emotions affect the artist, and the isolation. I think predominantly for all of us here has impacted us in many different ways, and it's a good topic to talk about.
Absolutely agree, and thank you. Ivan, did that magical come back to your brain?
Whole lot of no.
Okay.
Still working on it.
Brett, I see your hand. Did you want to talk? Why can't I hear Brett? Why can't I hear Brett? Come back, Brett. I can't hear you. I can sing a song about this if you want. This is really interesting. And just jump in when you're ready, Brett.
Test 1, 2.
I got your face. Thank you, darling. Hit me.
That's what happens when batteries die. Um, anyway, so what I was saying is, while I know we're kind of talking about disgust and whatnot, I'll tell you that easily one of the biggest motivators in my music is anger, and you know that's a cousin in a lot of ways, but and for me maybe it's the process where you know a lot of things go from something either disgust, annoyance, or whatever, and then turn into anger. Um, you know, for maybe through a bunch of different reasons, but that ends up being the motivator for me. And a lot of times where it comes to music, you know, and part of that is that energy needs somewhere to go. It needs somewhere safe to go at that. And that's really the benefit of music. I mean, we can call it therapy and everything like that, but at the end of the day, you know, you have a vehicle to get those that you have a vehicle to move that energy into something positive. And yeah, so I think you know there's a certain amount of seeking discomfort that comes with being any kind of artist, and maybe even just being a human at large. The more you take people who have been, you know, all over the world and seen every culture and actually lived there and whatnot, and they've got a way different perspective. You know, they're both their highs and lows of what it means to be human are just not are just not typical. You know, most of us aren't that. And so I think you know there's a part to understanding what you feel, also understanding or at least being aware that others are likely have every emotion you have, but may have seen something you haven't. And there's a lot of things that become useful for songwriting, in my case, or art, uh, because they become drivers and influential forces.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Phoenix, hit me.
So what I've realized is I've been in a lot of pain my whole life, you know, not just physical, psychological, mostly. But it does force you to kind of become hyper aware of the situation or the moment. And in those moments, you can have some clarity. And that's what is shown through, you know, how we paint time with, you know, art. It also activates, you know, more more of your memory, you know, and pattern recognition. But disgust, the reason disgust is such a good topic for today is because it pushes the boundaries and it also pushes what we can accomplish with our music. You know, some of us have the disgusting music, others don't, you know, and they both create kind of a contrast with one another, you know, because when you're confronted with your own darkness within and you express it to someone else, it's a way for people to be able to connect to the authenticity that your music and all of our music provides with each other, with everyone, you know. But we're pretty much like alchemists in a way, because we take something out of nothing and we create painted time, you know, like turning lead into gold. So, but this can lead to possible burnout too, you know, because if someone's just feeling certain feelings for such a long time, you know what I'm saying?
A really good point. Thank you. Oh, we're getting into magic, but it's a really fantastic reminder to you've got to open your mind. Like it's so critical that you've got to be open to, you know, it's really funny when I started this conversation this morning and where I am now, I think I need to be open to discuss based on, you know, a lot of this. And, you know, there's some really good points going on here to explore that. But the trick is to not let it change to not let it close my mind. Um, yeah. And you know, songwriting, music creation, yes, this is a magical thing, but it's tied to problem solving. Because if you can figure out a bass line, you can probably figure out a problem with somebody who you're having at work, you know, a problem you're having with someone at work, or like an interpersonal problem. I think anyway. So yeah, it's all a positive thing. Does anybody else want to jump in on this, or do I want to throw it to Phoenix, who had a question about mixtapes? Okay, Phoenix, tell us about this mixtape on YouTube.
So someone approached me about, hey, stating like, I want to use one of your songs. Can you send me the raw file of your song? And like some people, okay, maybe that'd be okay with. But I've come across in the past where I've heard stories of people getting fucked over for their stuff and not making money off said song because they threw out their song there to someone that they had developed a friendship with, and they got fucked over. So what would be the best thing to do? Say, hey, just buy my song and then throw it in your mixtape? Or what?
Okay, thank you. This is great. Personally, yes or no answer. Is it currently streaming?
My song is currently streaming
Okay, great.
other stuff.
So if it's on Spotify, YouTube, or anything else, the algorithm has stamped it and has put the ISRC and everything about it in your camp. So no one can rip you off. Thing about it, so I'm not going to answer the question in true Carl style. If they're going to put it on a mixtape on YouTube, there's going to be problems with that, because if YouTube senses that that already exists, YouTube's going to mute that shit. Which is why DJs don't use YouTube. If they put it on SoundCloud, it might work better. Because SoundCloud isn't as specific as that, which is in itself a legal problem because it should be. So if you did them a remix, sure. But yeah, so yeah, man, you can take my track and put it on your YouTube playlist. The thing about it is that YouTube will also sense that, I believe, and will pay you a royalty, which is a tenth of 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 a cent. Which actually means 100th. Thank you, Caesar. So yeah, hey man, do it, because also like the art of getting your music out there and sending it to DJs, like I just sent 2 ambient tracks, 44.1 16-bit tracks and high quality MP3s and the artwork to a whole bunch of ambient DJs. And if they wanted to, they could fuck me good. But then the music's covered by the Australian Performers Rights Association. It's covered with my AWOL account. It's in the algorithm as my property. So, and also I wouldn't be making a DJ buy your music. Some DJs will actually, but a lot of DJs kind of expect that they get it for free. And it's not because they're bastards. From their perspective, they're putting a lot of work in for free to help your music. So it can like I think of it, hey man, you're helping me, so have something free. But I do have DJs who will buy my music.
So it's better to just let them know you can use this. Here's the track. It is, however, already out there, so you might get flagged.
Yeah, you might.
So you use it at your own risk.
Yeah, and that's the other real shitty thing about YouTube, is that YouTube's got increasingly a flagging thing. Like if they want to do something cool, they should have a playlist that goes from song to song to song URL on YouTube to song URL on YouTube to song. I keep telling people to do this on Spotify. Set up a fucking Spotify playlist using songs that already exist, so there's a way that you can link and find out about that artist. You can do the same thing on YouTube. You're going to get ads. You get ads on Spotify. Who gives a shit? You can do it on Pandora and everything except fucking Apple Music. But yeah, they can upload the track. But and whenever I'm sending out a thing, I just send out MP3s to my, like, the Angelspit club DJs. I send out high quality MP3s. Remember to tell them the tempo, because they want to know that. And then they can put it in their SoundCloud or stream it on their show or do whatever. I'm pretty damn sure I'm not getting any royalties for that stuff. Yeah, but I should be getting royalties for it, because that's why we have a performance rights associations like APRA, ASCAP, GEMA, BMI, etc. Oh, so many words. Did that answer your question? The answer is yes. Do it. Send it to them.
Yeah,
And
that did answer my question. Thank you so much.
also start creating a list of DJs who might want to play your shit, so that every month or whenever you do a new track, you send it to them and it's going to get play. Yo. Notice the yo I threw in there?
I will. Thank you so much for that information, because I was just a little confused, because I've heard like other stories where people are like, yeah, this person really fucked me over, so on and so forth. And it's like, if it's already out there, it's
Yeah.
already out there.
Yeah. And that's, even if somebody samples you these days, the algorithm is going to pick that. And if you upload that track that you may have sampled an Angelspit song or whatever, the algorithm is going to go, hey, wait a minute. This sounds awfully like that Angelspit track, or fucking funky drummer. I had a dream about Amen breaks with Adam last night. I just remembered. I had a dream. Ivan, I see your hand. Give me. I had a dream. Adam Bomb turned up to my apartment with this vinyl that he bought with the Amen breaks on it, and all the money was going to the guy that played the Amen breaks. And it was the coolest fucking vinyl I have ever seen. And it had the inner sleeve, the outer sleeve had all of these die cuts in it, so that when you moved the outer sleeve out, it sort of animated as it moved under it. I went, oh, that's so cool. Anyway, thank you, Adam, for coming into my dream space. Always good. And I have been thinking about Dolly Parton's Jolene played slowly recently, and I always think of Adam when I get told that story. That Jolene is apparently the coolest, the best groove you've ever heard. Ivan, I'm ranting and you have to save me now.
Okay, so Phoenix, I was a little confused. What do they want to do with the song? Unmute.
They want to just put it on like their channel, with a bunch of other songs that are new songs. So they just want to
They want
kind
to
of,
have like a show on their channel that is a bunch of songs.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's different from having a bunch of individual songs linked to the channel as
Okay. Well, that was my understanding. I
if
could
they're
be
going
wrong.
to if they're going to stuff your song into like their greater product, if you're already released, their odds of getting content struck on it are pretty high. And is there a way to license that to them?
You can whitelist it, but
Oh,
whitelisting is a massive pain in the cock. And people have always said to me, will you whitelist this? This is like, no, I'm not going to fucking whitelist it, because I'm a prick.
yeah, and I suppose whitelisting would be the way to get around that, because that would be
It's a
saying,
pain in the
okay,
ass. Don't whitelist.
yeah,
So
yeah,
whitelist is when you tell your streaming people, let these websites get away with playing my music. Like, my fucking social media is supposed to be whitelisted with Angelspit stuff. So if I post anything to Angelspit social media, it's not gonna go, oh, you can't post that. Blah, 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 blah. Fuck, I hate social media. That's whitelisting. It's a pain in the bum. Do you sense the anger here? Sorry, I totally walked onto you, Ivan. Go.
No, that. I think I figured I've heard everything I need to at this point.
Mm. Thank you. Also, did that answer your question, Phoenix?
That did answer my question. Thank you,
Beautiful.
the both of you.
Thank you. Lyra Daydream. Hi, welcome, Lyra Daydream. I haven't seen you here much, but welcome. It's you make a really interesting point here about how during the pandemic, there was a moment of, besides the terror that was going on, of it felt like creative freedom, for me at least. And my pandemic was not a pretty situation. It was not a happy memory. I've actually blocked a lot of it out. But it's really interesting that when you got back to when everything opened up again and you got back to playing your music live, and I don't know, I do agree with your comment about it felt more authentic, because you didn't have to answer to venues and you didn't have to answer to all of these expectations, that because everybody was so busy freaking out, they weren't, I don't know, maybe that was just me. But once again, it's a thing that we need to take with us into the positivity of songwriting and smashing shit against the wall. And anger is an energy. I sounded a bit like a Dalek there, yo. And I was supposed to sound like Johnny Lingard Rotten. Does anybody else want to jump in at this point and say something fucking amazing? Wow, really? Nothing? While Alex is off eating a pizza.
I think this chat is fucking amazing, and everyone in it is fucking amazing.
Yeah, but wait, it's going to get more amazing because Alex is going to tell us about the pizza. What pizza are you eating, Alex?
I'm eating grapes, actually.
Wow. Health kick.
Are they the grapes of wrath?
They look pretty, yeah. Wow, hold on, man. You found Angelspit on a compilation CD in 2004? That would have been the primary dark wave or the crash frequency. Lyra, was that go for the jugular? No, jugular was written in 2010. 910. That was on Blood Death Ivory. I'd love to know what compilation that was. Yeah, God, I miss doing compilations. I really miss doing like CD compilations and then fucking giving them out. But the problem, I was having this conversation actually the other day because I've started working with a R&B artist, and it's really challenging for me because I don't normally write R&B, and there's a certain mindset you need to have in R&B, and I've gone, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to try this on. But I warn them, everything I do is dirty, like it's dirty, gritty, grungy synths. But I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to push myself to do something different. But we were talking, what comp was it? 100%. So that would have been the American Dancing Ferret one that also had Crew Shadows and a whole bunch of stuff that was distributed to Hot Topic. God, that was such a great fucking compilation. Yeah, good on him for doing that. What was I saying? Yeah, we were talking about how powerful the idea of having a CD compilation is, but the reality of it is that really not many people have CDs anymore. And the best way to do it is to say, what's a better thing to start? What's the, is it like giving out a QR code? But people want something physical. But I don't know. But if you're appealing to people who are like over 35, 40, then yeah, CDs are great, assuming they can play them. But cars don't have CD players anymore. Like maybe giving out a little toy that's got a QR code to a Spotify or other playlist. Gee, I don't know. Phoenix, what do you think?
This is funny because I just did this earlier today. So my car needed an oil change. Went to Jiffy Lube for my oil change. And some of the people looked rather young that were doing an oil change. So I just asked them about certain types of music, and they seemed to vibe with my stuff. So I'm like, well, I can just give you a card. And they're like, is that just a QR code on the back? And I'm like, yeah, it's a link to SoundCloud. They're like, can I just scan that? So I got to keep my card. And they just scanned it, and like another one of the employees actually wanted the card, and I promised it to them. So I went around and I noticed they were listening to my album as soon as I walked up there to give the other guy my card. They're like, "This stuff's phenomenal." I'm like, "Yeah, it's my latest album. It's the 15th one." They're like, "You have 15 albums?" I'm like, "Yeah, 20 years." Um, but yeah, like QR codes are freaking awesome because you can just show it to someone, and I think that has helped me get many more followers than without it, you know. So it's definitely, I think there are a couple sites that are free that'll just let you create a QR code that'll just link directly to your page or whatnot.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And this is a really interesting thing as well, is that if you've got a QR code on a card, having one that's going to a free playable version, for example, SoundCloud or YouTube, where you don't have to, or Spotify, where you don't have to log in, you can just play it, is a great idea. But having also having a link to the Bandcamp where you get to buy it, is also a really good thing. And also Rob mentioned Wawa Nee. Dude, you need to listen to Wawa Nee again, man. That guy had the funk. That guy was listening to way too much Prince, and really it was a band in the 80s from Australia. Everyone kind of laughed at it a bit. I'm digressing now, but they were fucking funky when you listen to it. It was good shit. Alex, talk to my face.
I have an idea. I don't know how good it is, but I just wanted to share it. Since people don't have CD players anymore, one could make a compilation app. You would have to do it twice, unfortunately, but you could make something simple with just an audio player with tracks and then maybe additional information about the band, maybe links to YouTube videos and such, so you can introduce yourself. And I think that would be a really cool idea. Now, I need to make my music first, but I think that's something that could work in theory.
I think that's a great idea. Something Angelspit used to do is that the QR code would go to, in fact, this was even pre-QR code, it would go to a page, and all I had to do was to keep updating that page. So every month, 6 months, year, I'd update that page. So even when actually it was the QR codes that were on those dollar bills that I gave out. I used to make them as dollar bills, and I printed them on off-green paper. And they were basically in a dollar bill. The size was slightly different, and it was obviously not a real dollar bill because it had stupid shit written and blood splattered on it. I gave out thousands of those things. Yeah, I was sending that to people, and they were putting them out in clubs. Good fun. But you just got to make sure that you update that website. And if it's like a link, like fuck Linktree, like if it's actually a URL that you can update, is great, because then you can embed, hey, listen to the album here, or here's the button that you just press straight away. An embedded SoundCloud, and embedded Spotify, and embedded Bandcamp. It's right on the page, and all you're doing is you're changing that shit as it goes. Brett, what do you think?
I just had an idea along the same lines of something you could pass around. Maybe you could do QR codes on guitar picks. I mean,
like
use
that.
it kind of like a business card, but I don't know.
That's a great idea, especially if there's no guitar in it at all.
Right? That's even funnier.
Because then you could do something really cool, and you could convert them into earrings.
Hey, maybe you just offer them that way.
Yeah, have a guitar pick. It's got our sound on it. That's a very good idea. Thank you, Brett. Phoenix, thoughts, go.
So did a little research real quick, and there's something called dot cards, which are like electronic cards where you can update them. And you only have to buy one, but people have to have their phones out and they scan the card, and you can change whatever information or websites or things that it's linked to online. I think it's like between 30 and $50 a card, but it's like dot cards. So
No, that's interesting. Thank you very much. You should put that in the description. Put that link in the description and I'll forward it on. Ivan.
Yeah, I would I printed up that pack of stickers for the playlist, and that contained the QR code to the playlist, directly to the playlist. And I would say that overall those stickers have been pretty successful.
Could you
Because
send me some of them?
I don't currently have any new ones. Also, I would really like to change that QR code to a QR code that goes to something like Linktree that we have more control over, so that we can control the landing site for people to arrive at, and then forward on to the actual playlist. Also, one of the things that I've discovered in with these stickers is there are people out there that are reluctant to just click on a QR code, mostly because they're kind of security crazy, or security scared, or security disgusted, as it were. And so I'm thinking that as part of the new batch of stickers, the actual URL needs to be printed as well, so that people know where the hell it's going. And it was Paul Barker that suggested that this land on a landing page instead of just going directly to the playlist. And I think he was 1,000% right, because like the only thing that we're doing is providing the playlist. We're not saying anything about ourselves. And I think being able to say something about ourselves and then get them to the playlist is useful. Also, with our own control over our own, thing, we could, every time we print new stickers, actually change the QR code so that we have an idea where these things are coming from, so we know what stickers people are seeing. Because that will give us an idea of where we're putting them and how they're getting out into the wild. And this gets into so much marketing, but I think it's all valuable, and would go a long ways. Um, I was going to do this exact thing like a year ago, but I was really sick, so getting things done became impossible.
Thank you. I will be throw a different thought in there, that it's really important that when you send someone a code, I think that it goes straight to the play button. It's not go to a page, go to another page, play button. It goes straight to the play button. So if we can, it would be interesting to find out if you can embed a Spotify playlist into a page. But either way, click here for the playlist, and
Oh
here's the
yeah.
bands. I don't know. I don't think you can embed Spotify. You can SoundCloud and fucking Bandcamp and blah blah blah, but we're not fucking doing that. Fuck that shit. Because if they are playing it on fucking Spotify, then Spotify's going to see that and start recommending their songs or similar songs or other songs they've done within their playlist more often. So that's going to work. And we are not talking about fucking Spotify. Thank you. Phoenix, hit me.
So I did more looking on the dot website, and they have like a dot band, which is like a little wristband that you can like charge and have all the information, so you don't have to pull out a card every time. But they have a bunch of different products on there that I think would be very helpful to everyone. So
Love it.
That's it.
I'm loving it. Okay, I'm loving it. This has been fantastic. Phoenix has spoken. Ivan, is your hand still up?
No, it's up new. I just checked. You can embed a Spotify playlist into a page. You stick it inside a frame and it works.
Oh.
That would, I think, be an excellent solution.
Okay, cool. And what you could do is you could have the Spotify player and then a list of the main bands that we've got going on under it. Okay.
Yeah, we can do anything we want underneath it. URLs and junk, all the useful stuff could be there.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. I feel energized and challenged by today's conversation as the rain slowly falls down in Los Angeles, knowing that I will be going out in that rain very shortly. Does anybody else have anything last minute they want to throw in before we call this amazing bus ride, call the Art of Rock, so that it might float off into the distance?
Yeah. How does gear acquisition syndrome affect your music? Let's go back to that.
We've already talked about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't we talk about that?
We didn't really sum it up.
Okay.
It was fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's well, there's I'm not sure. Do we talk about this again, or I thought we talked about it.
Well, when you acquire new gear, what do you do? I mean, like, it definitely affects my music because it becomes the new shiny, like, toy that's gonna get played with a lot
Yeah,
until I, like, get used to it, and then it will maybe end up on a shelf for a while.
for sure. For
And
sure.
then you're waiting for
I
more
agree
gear to
with
it.
that.
But my point was that if you can get around it, and if you can avoid it, try and avoid it.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, if you can't, then you can't. See, another thing you can always do is talk to someone and say, someone who you trust, and say, I'm going to send you this piece of gear. You're going to send me a piece of gear. We're going to swap gears. And when we're done, we're going to send it back. In fact, when you're done, you're going to send my piece of gear back plus something else. And we're going to have this ongoing swap thing.
Yeah.
But like my question is, I don't know. For me, I can only answer it for myself. That the good thing about it is that it's like it's energizing that part of my brain that goes, must make music. But I've always felt that it's a bit of a distraction. There's a difference between gear acquisition syndrome and getting a piece of gear that you actually need to make music, I think. And somebody else is going to disagree on that.
Beautiful way to sum that up. We went off on a tangent there and started talking about disgust, and I really wanted it to come back to
Thank you. I'm sorry. You
no
know what?
problem.
We did. You're absolutely right. But yeah, I think it's all about making music. Same with disgust, same with all that stuff. It's about music. And everybody's all very excited about the gear exchange. Yeah, God, fuck. Anyway, but yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to throw this to Phoenix with their hands up. Are you satisfied this question has been answered?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. We talk about this all the time. Phoenix, what are your thoughts?
Before I forget, I just realized they're having like a Black Friday sale on the dot site. So if you guys want to get some percentage off, I'd suggest getting it in the next 13 hours or so. So they're doing like 22% off all their stuff. So that's some savings.
That sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll talk about that again. And it's very interesting. People are talking about gear exchange a lot now too. Gear exchange a lot now too. Was there anything else that anybody wants? Anything else anybody wants to throw in at this last moment before we bugger on off to MTV TV?
Yeah, man, love everybody and love everything around you, and appreciate everything you have because that's all you got.
That's the truth. Thank you. And with that note, this has been the Art of Rock. Fuck, I hate internets. We're doing this every Saturday. And we're gonna make fucking shit better. We hope. This is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. Thank you for being part of Angelspit's Patreon. And it's there. Go join. Few bucks a month or free. Take your pick. Angelspit's new album is out. I'm happy with it. Go grab it. It's terrifying. The Industrial Incisions playlist is here. Yeah, we're gonna go over to bloody MTV TV. Don't turn off just yet. Follow that because there's a whole bunch of bands you need to know about because they're awesome. Also, Wednesday night, Vulture Culture is doing synths, and it's bloody excellent. It's epically amazing. Razi is normally here making this incredible, but Razi is not here today. And I want to do a big shout out to everyone for being a part of this fantastic madness. It's all about fantastic madness. Right now, we are shooting on over to MTV TV. So if you're watching on any other thing, streaming service, that's where we're going now because it's going to be bloody awesome. So please join us. Let's raid. Diana, hit the raid button. And we're going to hang back here and have a chat. And I got to figure out how to put a compressor on this microphone because software hates me. Have we started the raid?
Yes, sir. We are at MTV TV.
We are? All right, cool.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I'm going to kill this, and then we're going to hang out. It's just too fantastic. You're right. Bye. See you next week.